Hey, my Culture again, and today, guys, I'm here to do another anime review, as the review is to Korotai Show Episode 5, guys. So let's get into it. So, guys, in this episode of Korotai Show, first up, it starts the episode of the camping trip, and the camping trip, with Nisuke, I think that's his best friend. I think that's what our best friend and Yukihire's best friend is called. Nisuke. I think I say his name, I got it wrong, but okay. But we found out, he was a bit hesitant of going with him, but of course he accepted because he's been with his best friend / his lover, his romantic interests as well. Makes sense why he would come, but it was a bit worried because, again, we see more tension between him and Takanashi, but then, they don't seem like have a hate relationship between each other. Between Takanashi and, Nishiki, they both don't, even though they looks like they're hesitant between each other, because they seem like they know something that they're not telling, Yukihire. But they don't seem to have a hate relationship, so I can definitely tell they don't, because they seem to be alright with each other, but they don't seem to be liking about. So it doesn't feel like there's any hate between those two. Like the first few episodes, it feel like there was tension. Maybe they hate each other or something. But then when they start talking to each other, I know part of it is so Yukihire won't find out that they have some tension or some form of disliking about each other, but the way they do talk doesn't seem like they hate each other, but they do dislike each other in some way. What they dislike themselves to each other about, I have no idea. Possibly because they both see themselves as rivals for Yukihire, or something, because maybe they both know. We definitely know Nishiki knows that Takanashi is in love with Yukihire, and Yukihire is in love with Takanashi. So, and of course, Takanashi also knows that Nishiki also knows that. But the thing with but we don't know if she knows that Nishiki likes Yukihire, which is interesting. I want to know if that could be the reason why they're having a bit of a dislike of each other, or is there something else that's going on? Like, that is something that I still want to know. What she doesn't really like about Nishiki, and what Nishiki doesn't like about her, and why they have some form of... It's also, again, rivalry as well, because don't forget, they're in love with the same person. So obviously, rivalry is involved in part of their disliking for each other. Like I said, it's not hatred. You can definitely tell that it's not hatred between them, but there is definitely a form of dislikeness between them. Of course, it could soon develop into hatred at some point in the series, but right now, I only see it as more of disliking than hatred. Now, the other thing that's going on in this episode, after we found out that Yukihire had a dream job, he likes to looking at these old ruins or minefields. Like, he likes manors, like these old building manors that been built even way before written language existed, like paintings and stuff in ancient Japan. Before ancient Japanese got into writing, they of course used drawing. If I remember correct, ancient Japan was found early on, more after when Britain, European countries. But Japan has been found more after the Japan is less older compared to the rest some European countries in our world. Of course, Africa being the most oldest continent by the way, I don't know what is the oldest country. Like, for anybody who knows what the oldest country is, put in the comments down below. That might be interesting, because I like my history and stuff. I do like my history, so I do want to know what is the oldest country, so I know which is where the humans sort of actually originate from. But we definitely know the oldest continent is Africa. Oldest continent is definitely Africa. But the next oldest, of course, is Europe. Europe is the next oldest continent. So, of course, any country from Europe, we call most of the main countries, except for England, which is out of the European countries, the main European countries, we're the newest country out of the European countries. And Japan, I think it's older. Japan is older than Britain. I remember correct. Japan is older than Britain. So, but I'm correct, Britain did start developing written language more early on compared to Japan, the way it looked like it to me, my personal point of view. I might be wrong. Japan could have learned written language before we did, but I don't know. But back in ancient Japan. It seems like they actually started being manners way before even they learned how to use written language, and they were using painting language like Stone Age people used to do. So that's something interesting. And Yuki here, he has a big interest in learning about these new, like, ancient old manners. So he decides to, and so he dreams job to actually work in a job that makes him able to do these things. So pretty much an archaeologist. If he wants to, so it means an archaeologist would be a good job for him. But this is when we find out his dream, during an event that, at night, the test of courage, the classic test of courage, like every romance comedy anime usually do, usually use a test of courage. We found out, after they split into teams, Yukihira and Takanashi was formed one group and they left for opposite direction compared to Rena and Nishiki, who walk each other. We found, Nishiki, of course, knows that Rena is the go-between between Takanashi and Yukihira, and she's trying to make them come a couple. We found out one thing. We find out that it is possible to legally reject a marriage proposal. You can cancel your marriage partner. So that is something now we know it's possible to cancel. But we all now know why it's also negative if you do that. Because we found out for any top-notch school to go to, in other words, this kind of special school that Yukihira wants to go to, one of the first type of people they will look into that they can't accept him to a school, because the most top-notch schools will of course have tons of people applying that school. The problem is a school cannot always can only handle a certain amount of students. That means, of course, they have to let down some people who apply to it. The problem is, we found out in this anime, one of the first few people that are going to end up declining are people who rejected their marriage assignments. Yes. And that's what Nishiki tells Rena. Because it seems like Nishiki knew. I do not. And it looks like Rena didn't. And it looks like Takanashi and both Yukihira didn't know about this. If they did, I think they would be more worried. Possibly Takanashi knows this. But even she does know this. Maybe she's still doing it because she just seriously wants to be with Yukihira. We don't know. But it does. Now we know why Nishiki has again another distaste of why Rena doesn't want Nishiki to be why he doesn't want Yukihira to be in a relationship with Takanashi, because he wants Yukihira to fulfill his dream. The problem is with Yukihira having quite low average, not anything special to do with him fully to begin with, and it's going to be hard for him to get into the school in the first place. He doesn't want to have his friend / love interest. He doesn't want him to be in that position where he can't do anything because the opportunities he could have gone if he marries Rena are lost because he denies that. And that's what Rena realized, and we can definitely tell that she feels a bit hesitant about helping now. You can definitely tell that the way she reacts. But of course, we now know she's still aiming towards how Yukihira and Takanoshi come together. Now but I've got to say, there's one sense, but that was the two major things we saw in this episode that connect me. We learn more of the hesitation between Nishiki and Takanoshi, but also why it's actually a bad thing for anybody to deny their marriage proposal. And this is the reason. Because we now know it's possible, but now we know the effects of what it could do. It will affect your future in society. And that's a big problem. And it affects your dream job. I feel like, oh my god, that's unfair. But that's quite interesting to know about. So we now know what's the bad side about this. That's going to go on. Now, animation looked fucking good. Especially on the scene when, after Takanoshi, Yukihira, Nishiki, and Rena meet up again after they see a strange light. They found like a little meadow or pond area, and they found that this entire area is full of fireflies. And gotta say, that scene was definitely in the opening, and I like that scene in the opening. In the opening, I loved that scene. That scene looked gorgeous, and then we actually got to see a full scene for it in this episode, and it looked gorgeous. The animation for that looked gorgeous. I loved how that looked, but that's got to say, that looked good. Now, there's another thing that actually in this episode, at the last few seconds of this episode, that I take on what the next episode is going to focus on. In the end of the episode, there's a letter that goes to Yukihira herself. I noticed, and it says in health and birth on it, from what the two words I noticed on there. So in next week's episode, we're probably going to learn something to do with a sexual relationship. In other words, making children. So sexual relationship between, in this case, Yukihira and Rena. Like, this is going to be interesting. Like I said, I love my anime, and I'm glad this series do touch on subjects that I feel like that should be fucking mentioned more to the time. And I'm glad I'm doing it, and especially on this, like in a lot of other things. But so we got a slight hint of what the next episode is going to be without me watching the preview. I'm just going to see if the preview is available. If it's available on the episode I'm watching, I'm going to watch it, see what it's going to be about. But from what I can tell from that little bit in the end, something drastic going to happen without notice. That notice got sent in the post to Yukihira's house after he returned from the camping trip. Overall, the episode definitely good. I love this episode. This has definitely got a lot of character development for Takanoshi and Yukihira and Nishiki, but also we all now know why it's actually a bad thing to. Now we know it's possible to deny the marriage proposal, but now we know why it's bad to do that. Anyway, guys, that's my anime review to Korotai You Show episode 5. Guys, okay, come and try fans today for guys and fan mail down below. And yeah, hope guys, okay, come on, subscribe, and I'll see you guys there. Bye, guys. Wow.